Hey everybody, in this video, we're going to be talking about difficulty orgasming, and we're going to be talking about this in relationship to females who are struggling with this. My name's Dr. Diane Mueller, Libido expert, and the first thing I really want to do for you here is make sure to normalize this. We are in a situation, we are in a day and age where we can talk about sex more freely, but it's still pretty taboo. Now, 15% ish of women report in statistics that they have never had an orgasm, and only 18% of women report that they can orgasm from intercourse. So with that being said, we need to start normalizing this topic and realize that it's pretty normal and common for women to not have experienced orgasms, and it's really, really common to have difficulty experiencing orgasms with vaginal sex. So why is this? So there's a couple different things going on here. One is wherever the clitoral location is really makes a difference with orgasm and sex. So what we actually see is that some women have a clitoris that is further away from their vaginal opening called the introitus. And so when the clitoris is further away from that vaginal opening, when it's like, say, further away on the pelvic area, what winds up happening is certain positions and a lot of positions don't stimulate the clit. And this is really important to understand because the clitoris is the area that has the most nerve sensation. We have so much erectile tissue as women. We have as much erectile tissue as men, but the location is so drastically varied of this prime erectile tissue from woman to woman. Therefore, for some women, if you have a clitoral erectile tissue that's really close to your vaginal opening, a lot of positions with sex might stimulate your clit more. And when this happens, you get more stimulation, more nervous sensation to that erectile tissue. And guess what? It's easier to have an orgasm with sex. Now, for those of you out there and there's most women that are actually have a clitoris that's further away, it can be very difficult to orgasm and common to not orgasm with sex unless some sort of stimulation is applied to the clitoris. And another thing to understand here is it's not just about stimulation, it's also about blood flow. So there's more and more literature coming out about the importance of circulation, of bringing blood to your erectile tissue. We used to just focus on this with men, and now we realize that this is also true for women, that the erectile tissue needs a lot of blood flow. And what's interesting as women is the erectile tissue is slower to receive blood than men. So another thing to understand with orgasming and women is it is normal and natural for it to take more time and for you to need more time to rev up that engine for it to actually feel good, because it takes longer for your body to respond to send blood to the erectile tissue. We have the same amount of erectile tissue as men, but the need for blood is also really important, but it's just slower. So it takes more time, more foreplay is needed, more time to warm up for this erectile tissue to become really engorged, for the sensation to be really high, and therefore for orgasm to be achieved. So that's a lot of science. Now let's talk a little bit more about what to do about this. So one of the things, first of all, is beyond, the normalization is to really work on internal confidence. So there's a research that's linking things like orgasm to body image or orgasm to genital image, right? So for a lot of women, it's very normal to actually have never seen what your vulva looks like. And a lot of women are, comparing themselves when they do. It's very common also to compare oneself to, porn or to the, maybe a few images that you might have in your head of what a vulva is supposed to look like. And so it's really important to understand that all vulvas are uniquely beautiful and uniquely different, just like all physical appearances, right? So it's the same sort of concept. And what we see in research is when we actually begin to appreciate our own anatomy more and the beauty of our own anatomy, and I'm talking about all over, as well as our genital image, when we start appreciating ourselves more, we actually enjoy sex more, we enjoy pleasure more, we're more present in the moment, we're not worried about what we look like, that kind of thing. And when that happens, we can achieve orgasm more easily. So that's one thing. Talking to your partner is another thing. Make sure you check out other videos in this channel on honesty around sex and communication around sex, because that's a whole nother topic. But it's really important to be honest with your partner around what's working, what's not. It's very common to have faked an orgasm if you're a woman. Some stats say that well over 50% of women have faked an orgasm. So another thing that's normal. And while there might be reason to do that sometimes, we want to be careful that we're not doing that to our partner, because what we're teaching them when we fake an orgasm is we're teaching them that what they did was an effective strategy to give us pleasure, right? And so if it's not an effective strategy, we don't want to teach them that it is, because, you know, we're all creatures of learning. And if somebody is thinking like, oh, if I do this thing, she loves it, she gets pleasure, she's like orgasming, it's awesome, and you're like, it's not working. If you fake that, then that can lead to problems of reprogramming or of programming somebody that, you know, your partner, that this is an effective way of giving you pleasure, and perhaps it's not, right? But that's, we go through more in a different video. The other thing to say here is vibrators, is masturbation, learning more about your own anatomy, learning more about your own pleasure will really help you teach a partner as well. So the more you can explore through self-pleasure, through vibrators, a lot of women really do benefit from using vibrators during sex. Usually good to talk to a partner beforehand about this, to explain some of this, to, you know, really take the approach of this is supposed to be an additive thing to help bring you more pleasure, to help with bringing that more blood flow to your erectile tissue because of the nature of women needing that, but of the slower response time for women versus men as far as blood flow. So you want to talk to your partner about this. Typically, for most couples, this works best to talk about in advance, unless you've already established some level of like surprise in the bedroom, and that's totally normal. It might take your partner for surprise if this is a very new thing to pull out a vibrator with sex. Sometimes there's a lot of curiosity or misunderstanding, and that can say to spoil the moment for some people. So it's oftentimes like use of that is good to talk about ahead of time so your partner knows what's up and it's not coming as a surprise. So again, normalizing the conversation around difficulty orgasming, being truthful with yourself about what is pleasurable, what's not, finding more confidence and beauty in yourself, in your genital image, knowing how uniquely beautiful you are, talking to your partner, having open conversations, long foreplay sessions to bring lots of blood, and don't be afraid to use lube as well. All right, everybody, please do subscribe, share this with your friends. If this has been helpful, please don't keep me a secret. Information about how to work with me at my Libido doc is found in the show notes. I'll see you in the next one.